Hello and welcome to Becoming Unstoppable Fitness and Weight Loss. We're your hosts, Lynn and Stephanie, and we have a special co-host today. This is Lynsey from F45 South McKinney, where Stephanie is also a trainer. We have both of these ladies in the house today, and we are going to be talking about why sugar really is the devil and how to reduce cravings and consumption of sugar. So, buckle up, you're in for a wild ride. We're going to start talking a little bit about sugar. I have learned some fascinating things over the last little bit about sugar and how it actually disrupts our metabolism. It takes us out of fat burning mode. We start burning glucose first instead of fat first. So it puts us in a state of metabolic inefficiency. Do you guys want to talk a little bit? Oh, you know what? I was going to start this episode by telling my inspiring story. Okay, so before we get into sugar, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story because I think this is going to just fill everybody's heart with some hope and inspiration. But my car battery died this morning. I came out of my workout and went to go turn my car on, and all I heard was a click. So anyways, I called my husband right away. He didn't pick up. A nice guy from in the gym came out to take a look. He was able to just pop my hood, which was more than I could do. So I appreciated that. But I was sitting around for maybe 15, 20 minutes before my husband finally called me back and showed up, and my hood was up. And I was parked in front of a breakfast place, and it was amazing because probably 12 people stopped and asked if I needed help. Men, women, older people, young people, like people of all kinds. So sweet. And then when my husband finally did get there, more people stopped and asked if he needed help, and somebody gave him like a longer set of jumper cables. I don't know how it ended up, but he ended up being surrounded by 3 men. They were just giving him moral support. My husband, yeah, it was so awesome to see. They missed their breakfast. They were in the restaurant at some point with their families, and they came out to help us, or mainly my husband. It was just so cool to watch these guys. It was almost like they were protecting him from failure, or
we're gonna make sure he gets his car started and charged.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, really nice. But it warmed my heart so much as I was watching this all go down. I was like, you know what? People really are good. Like, we forget how good people are, especially when we watch the news and the headlines, and even like talking to my hairdresser. A couple weeks ago, she was complaining. This person did this person did that. And I was like, but remember, like, most people are good. And she's like, she just kind of ignored me and went into the next story and the next story. And then she's like, this world is so screwed up. And I said, but remember, we decided people are good. We decided.
You're trying so hard. I'm going to make you positive no matter what. I'm going to make you positive.
Well, I do believe most people are good. Not all people, but most people are good. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that inspiring story. And then Stephanie was mentioning, maybe you can tell us a little about your, well, I'll get to the chase, actually. We'll get to one of your stories next episode. But Stephanie was telling about New York. When she lived in New York, she didn't find that people were really friendly and helpful. But what I reminded her, what I was kind of reminding myself too, is that even when people aren't friendly and helpful, or when we're not seeing it around us, we can always be friendly and helpful and produce those same amazing feelings in us. And so we're never at the mercy of other people to have that. It's actually oxytocin, a neurochemical, but we don't have to wait for other people to be really warm and friendly to us. We can offer it to them and have that same great feeling.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Reminder for myself too.
Yeah,
always needing to be reminded.
Feeling, just make it happen.
Absolutely. That can be very hard when your circle is negative. Like to your point when you were talking about like if your hairdresser and it was just negative. Some of that probably is just let me vent, get it off my chest, and be able to move on.
I don't know if people ever do.
But
what I've found in my experience is that when I vent, I'm like deeper ingrained in my pity party. Do you guys find that too? It's really not venting. It's like kicking yourself in the teeth. Punching yourself in the face.
Sometimes mine are just sort of just let me vent, just let me get this off my chest, and then we can move on.
Do you move on?
Yeah.
Yes, that's all I need most of the time.
Yeah.
There are those times when it's just,
Yeah.
I need somebody else when the snowball happens, I need somebody else to go, all right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Did you get it off your chest?
Yeah, and that's my other question. So like if you're getting it off your chest, does it help you if I'm like, if I mirror your emotions, does it help you more than if I'm just kind of like, okay, let's move on, Lynsey?
No, I need somebody who's going to be real with me if I'm, you know what I mean? Like I'm complaining about my child not picking up their clothes and, you know, I need somebody to go like, you're overreacting a little bit.
Oh, really?
I need somebody to tell me that so that I can go, so I can self-reflect and look at it and go, oh, you know what? I was being a little dramatic there. I probably shouldn't have. Or I can go back and, you know what? I hit my foot earlier, it made me mad, and I just reacted on seeing clothes on the floor.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, because what I noticed, especially with my teenager, if I try to bring her to a place of sanity, it backfires. But if I like get into the drama with her, I'm like, no, tell me more. And she goes to a place of sanity. She's like, actually, it wasn't that bad. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I know exactly what I'm doing.
I do that with my teenager too. Oh yeah. I'm like, oh, no, wait, tell me more. I'm like, where's the popcorn? Tell me all the stories. Even with Stephanie, like when Stephanie's talking to me sometimes, I'm like,
That's a great story.
I was like, oh my gosh. But you know, I think it's for some people it makes them feel better. Like,
yeah.
And you're empathizing.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of like take in what they're doing and understand, or you know what, maybe, you know, I'm complaining to Steph about something and she's got a great perspective on it that she can, you know, relate and then help me kind of work through it in her own way. Like, I think that's just like helpful.
Yeah.
You have good stories.
The initial empathy is very helpful, but then to kind of move on from that is the most ideal. And like, okay, I feel you, but here's how we could maybe solve this. If you're not yourself.
I like
but I will say I do like having the empathy up front for sure.
If you're telling somebody a story, you want them to be able to empathize with you.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think a lot of people I know I can feel that from. But that being said, I know at the end of the day, like I do appreciate if someone can, you know, also bring me back down to reality a little bit if I'm being a little dramatic.
Yeah. Well, and that's the point we're trying to get to, is a place of logic and reasoning, right? When we're so in the drama, we can't see clearly, we can't see a way out of it. And so we're just kind of trying to bring people back down to a place where they can use their logic and reasoning. So it's great if we can do that for ourselves, right?
Yes.
Let me know when you figure out how to do that for yourself. I have yet to figure that out, how to do that for myself.
Yeah. I'll teach you sometime.
I'm going you back. It's real hard to bring myself. I can do it for anybody. I can have a conversation with anybody and empathize or sympathize, whatever they need in the moment, talk through it.
Yeah.
I can never do that for myself.
Okay. We'll talk about it. I got you. Okay. So, on to our episode, which is about sugar. So we are going to talk about sugar, as I mentioned, how it causes metabolic disruption, hormonal changes. It actually changes the levels of our leptin and our ghrelin. Those are the hormones that tell us when we're hungry and when we're satiated. So it will screw up your hunger cues. And let's talk a little bit about why we crave sugar. This was the most fascinating piece of information that I read. It could actually be a magnesium deficiency. So when we are magnesium deficient, we also tend to be anxious. So if you struggle with anxiety, it could be actually a magnesium deficiency, and you can, no, you have to be really careful with taking magnesium supplements because they can throw other things off. But you can get your magnesium from nuts, seeds, leafy greens. And so that is how I'm going to go about doing it. I did order magnesium, but then I read all of the scary stuff about magnesium. So I'm like, no, I'm going to do it the natural way. Okay, so it could be a magnesium deficiency while you're craving sugar. But could you tell me from your experience some reasons that you find yourself craving sugar?
I can, just from this past weekend. I was at a bachelorette party, and I've been really on track with my food recently, but I was having like these massive sugar cravings, and of course it was all readily available, unfortunately. And as I was sitting there eating sugar, I was like, I know the only reason I'm eating this is just because I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I'm searching for a way to find energy, but this is not the solution because it's not going to actually give me valuable energy. It's because I haven't slept enough. Like, so lack of sleep and stress, I know I've noticed for me are two things that drive me to sugar. And I have had magnesium. I do occasionally will take magnesium, but I never took it really consistently because I don't like to overdo supplements. So I don't know if that's been a big thing for me, but the things I've definitely noticed have been lack of sleep or stress. And now that I am very aware of that, I can tell myself, wait, why am I doing this? Like, I know I don't actually need the sugar. Well, no one needs sugar really, but like, I don't have a legitimate reason for wanting this. It's that I'm not giving my body what it actually needs.
So when you find yourself in like, either you're physically or mentally exhausted, and you kind of had to be on because you were at a party, right?
Yeah.
You were celebrating with your friend.
Yeah.
So did you think of anything like, okay, what could I do next time? You know, sugar this time was your easy answer, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But did you think of any like replacement behaviors for that quick energy when you have to be on, but you're physically depleted?
In the moment, I would think more just prepping leading up to it, making sure I get enough sleep the whole week, and like prepping everything like leading up to it would probably be my best solution. But I really just to not do it because I can kind of run off of like adrenaline and energy like from other people. I know that about myself because I do it basically every day. I was like, I could have just said no to that and realized, okay, like drink some water, like just mentally refocus, and then just enjoy your time here and feed off of the energy around me. I don't know, for me, that's something I know I can do.
Yeah. Did you notice when Lynsey walked in? So you and I, before we were recording, we were talking and we were kind of in like a low emotional state. And then when Lynsey walked in, I turned it on.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And I did that on purpose. Like I almost went into kind of I know this is going to sound weird, but I almost put on like different hats. I'm like, okay, Lynsey's here, time to put on my hat. Like, so you're all, I wonder if that would work for you. If you're like, okay, I'm going to go into my, oh God, what is it called? Like, I don't know, just putting on your hat, just putting on like I'm going into this role now.
It's having fun.
Well,
you're always fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if you could generate that energy from within yourself just by like picturing your role, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Picturing your hat.
Yeah, it's my job. How am I going to do it? Yeah.
Okay, Lynsey.
Turn on your trainer hat when you have a class.
Yeah.
That will exhaust her. She's like,
I
I've done this all week. I'm not doing this again.
Right. Different. Yeah.
But I want to hear about you also, Lynsey. Like, when do you find yourself craving sugar?
I would definitely agree with stress. Stress definitely, it's like a comfort food almost.
Mm-hmm.
So
it
kind of just
eliminates stress for you.
No, not at all. Of course not. It's just probably something easy that you think is going to make you feel better, having that
But
little.
it does make you feel better.
And for like a hot second. And then
How-
I'm like, oh
how
my gosh,
long?
why did I eat that?
How long?
How
'Cause
long?
It's got to give you some relief or you wouldn't do it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think some of it is just it's more of a mental thing, because I will say when I'm bored at like work and I'm bored, not your work, not your work,
Thank you.
not your work. Can't be bored then. There's no way. But you know, boredom, and like sometimes I'm doing some of those tedious tasks in my other job, and I'm like, I'm gonna go look downstairs, and then I start looking for food, and I'm like, oh, there's a whatever little candy sugar piece, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So I'll use that to kind of fill the void versus like just having my water, and maybe like I've become obsessed with liquid IV, I'm not gonna lie, and that has that sweetness that I feel like I really am looking for versus going for.
We're going to talk about that, artificial sweeteners. But what could you do if you weren't going to do, because that's a very legitimate thing. Humans, like when we're doing something tedious,
Mm-hmm.
we want some relief from that periodically. Like
Yes.
it's natural to feel that way. So what could you do to give yourself relief when you're in those tedious tasks?
I think sometimes it's not, maybe I'm not making my way to my kitchen or something like that, but it's just stepping away from whatever I'm doing, or switching what I'm doing that's not so monotonous,
Yeah.
that I can go like, oh, I'm gonna flip my brain to something else, so that I'm out of this mode and I'm not seeking something to fill a boredom void, so to speak. You know, like just something, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just, I have to find, I think just sometimes just getting away from it will just kind of help. Like I've noticed that too, it's probably off topic, but when I do get to some of those points and don't want to leave my desk though, I'll flip my phone over and start looking at stuff, and I'm like, oh! I'm like, stop it. Like I need to focus, and I need to not have that as my escape. And so when I work from home, my escape is going to the kitchen and looking for that sweetness. So maybe instead of doing that, maybe it's like I take a moment, you know, play with the dogs a little bit or something else, and then
that's a good
can
one.
go back to whatever I'm doing.
Play with the dogs. So I've been reading a lot about the dilation of the pupils, and when our pupils are contracted, we like need relief periodically. And so what do a lot of us do? We go on our phones. Well, that's not relaxing our pupils at all. So I tell my clients who struggle with this, like, get outside. Anything that relaxes your eyes. But I mean, I think playing with the dogs is a good idea because your eyes are relaxed at that point too. But if you could even like look out the window periodically, anything that dilates those pupils, it will give you some relief.
It's actually really good.
Tip of the day.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm gonna come in work and be like, have you been staring at the computer too long, Steph? Walk away. I love that. I didn't know that.
That is interesting.
Yeah, but thank you for sharing all of that because this is so common, wanting a break from the tediousness. Yes.
Day-to-day stuff.
And then how do we reduce cravings? Oh, well, I thought this was really interesting, and I had a minute to reflect on myself too. I've noticed myself like the last couple of weeks, I'm like, you know, I just feel a little thicker than I'm used to.
Thicker?
So, yeah, thicker. I am lifting really, really heavy, which is, we'll talk about that in our next episode. But that's not why. It always has to do with my nutrition. But I've been drinking this sugar-free vanilla in my coffee in the morning. I love it, love it, love it. And like, I was starting out with just like a little bit, and then I love it so much. Now I'm doing a little more, I think. But I think it makes me more hungry throughout the day. I noticed this a couple months ago too. When I was drinking it, I noticed like a little increase in the scale. So anyways, yeah, I did not buy that this week. I am not buying it anymore. And instead of using like a full pack of stevia, I'm going to cut back to like a half pack of stevia, not make my coffee super sweet, and just see what that does with my appetite throughout the day, because according to what I'm reading, artificial sugar will completely throw your hunger and your satiety cues off just as much as real sugar. So there you go. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Ditch the artificial sugar, so that liquid IV might have to go.
It might have to.
Yeah.
It does help with the water though. I'm really bad about drinking water in itself. Just plain water does not entice me whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I can do that, because it also helps.
But then it might be like counteract, or it might be
I know.
shooting yourself in the foot.
Where's the balance?
Balance. We're always looking for balance. So what else? What are some personal experiences? Especially I want to hear like between, you know, when you were heavy compared to how you are now, which, you know, none of us claim to be like, we have arrived, because we haven't at all. But I think we're all really happy and proud of our, you know, where we're at physically. Like we work really hard in the gym and we watch our nutrition and all of that. So when things weren't going well for you, as far as your fitness and your overall health and weight, what were the differences? Do you know, with the sugar? I can say for me, I ate ice cream every night. Like that was just my ritual. I didn't really know. My husband did it, so I was like, I can get away with it too. Like, you know, a little ice cream, but a little would lead to like a little more and a little more and a little more. Yeah. So that is not a thing for me anymore. But anyways, I don't.
Well, for me, sugar was like a daily thing, which of course there's like sugars in food, but I'm talking like, you know, junk sugar. Cause I mean, even it'd be after lunch, I want a little something sweet. So that's like my lunch dessert. And then I would want dessert after dinner too. And I would do both. And especially when I was eating like fast food and would get like mochas that were probably loaded with sugar, and I didn't even realize, even though I was like coaching spin like 4 or 5 times a day, like I was not out training my diet. Even like hours on a bike, I was not out training my diet. It was terrible. And as I always wanted that sugar in the afternoon, I always wanted it in the evening, and it was just like a continuous pattern. And if I didn't have it, like I would do what I could to seek it out. Like it is addictive.
Wow.
So yeah, it would be like twice a day. I would have to have like at least a little like sweet thing, or a big sweet thing.
Yeah, because
Lunch would be a little sweet thing, and then dinner would be like legit.
Full on dessert.
Yes.
Yeah, because these little sweet things can have like 700, 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's why I always tell people, like, if they're just adding working out to their routine and not paying attention to their food, they can still lose a 0 weight or even end up gaining weight.
Yeah.
Like, that's so important to realize. Yeah, you can't eat junk all day and work out 5 hours and still expect to be fit. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
Why not? No.
Well, let's talk about the inflammation effects of sugar as well, which, you know, nobody tells us these things when we're consuming the double mocha, whatever, frappuccino. But do you guys know much about the inflammatory effects of sugar?
Well, I know it is bad for basically everything you can possibly think about. So for inflammation, cancer, diabetes, obviously, like there's so many diseases that can be the root cause, or the root cause kind of comes from a high sugar diet.
Oh, so good. And the heart disease has been linked to sugar as well, which, you know, is very counterintuitive. We think high fat is what leads to heart disease.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, sugar can be the culprit there too. And in fact, I'll just share a personal story. I think I told you about my sister. She died a couple of years ago from a heart attack, but she was a baker and she was absolutely addicted to sugar. She made beautiful creations that tasted so amazing. And, you know, we can't say for sure that sugar was the culprit, but I mean, she was definitely overweight and enjoyed the things that she made. So Yeah, that's very sad. And and she did call me actually shortly before she passed away, and she said, I'm looking for ways to get unhooked from sugar, and just we never had time to work on it. So very sad. But for you folks at home, it's not too late to detox from sugar. Ditch it completely. And when we realize how terribly bad it is for us, I think it's a lot easier. I've also been noticing what it does to my brain as far as my mental capacity, like my sharpness. I think we talked about it after Christmas too, how I was kind of like in a brain fog. And I didn't correlate it with sugar directly until after the fact. And I was like, oh, that could have been why I was very low functioning during that time.
Yeah. No, it definitely derails focus for me too, and depletes my energy. Even though you initially think like, oh, the sugar is going to give me the boost. I even find myself just, the other night, I was like kind of thinking that, but then I really caught myself. I was like, better than this.
Yeah.
Like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
But it is truly addictive. That's why it is scary. And if you have the opportunity, which we all do, take the reins, take control of your diet. It's not easy, but
yeah,
it's doable. Trust me. Like my family knew, like growing up, I was like the candy girl, and everyone knows I love sugar. I still love sugar, but I just don't have it all the time. It is possible to get over.
So this time, but I think it's really important to have a plan in place. So for Steph, you said you were going to try some visualization techniques, like putting yourself in a different character role to get your energy up, right?
Yeah.
What else can you do when you find yourself in a low energy state instead of the sugar? What's your plan?
Making sure I drink enough water. But in the moment, I just have to think about, okay, like what are my goals? Sometimes I just have to refocus, because I actually do this really often, probably more often than it should be. I have to I'll literally be about to eat something I probably shouldn't be eating, or isn't a wise choice. Every week I do allow myself to have something I really enjoy. I always do that. But if it's in the middle of the week and I'm doing really good, I'm like, okay, what I have to ask myself, is this really worth it? What are my goals? And is this going to really outweigh the results that I want?
So you just slow yourself down and refocus on your goals.
Yeah, I have to talk to myself and say, what choice am I actually making here?
Okay.
And I have a mental conversation in my head.
Good for you.
So
good.
I actually did that this morning.
You're like your own wise counselor, right?
Yeah, I was in front of a donut at Quick Trip when I stopped for gas, and then I was like, you know what? It's still the bachelorette weekend, but then I was like, no, you have goals. Is this really worth
I love that. Good for you.
I wasn't great all weekend, but that was a win.
Yes, that is a huge win. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna play with your dogs,
I'm
right?
not playing with my dogs. I'm not gonna do it. Actually, I'm trying really hard not to. That's the problem with having children is they want some of that stuff, so I have to taper that a little bit with them, not to go super crazy, but I get it, they're kids, it's what they want to do, but I also make sure if I do get them stuff, I know it's something I don't like myself, so that I kind of remove the temptation.
That's smart.
Because I will, if it's something I like,
Yeah.
I will, it's okay, I'll have a little bit of this, and I don't want the temptation there, because, sometimes, as strong as I like to think I am, I'm a human being. I could have a bad day and I'll use that as my scapegoat.
Yeah.
So if I don't have it, I can't.
Yeah. I think I think that's a really good strategy. I'm wondering why Hallie's favorite line, my daughter, is always like, why can't I just be a normal kid? Why can't I just eat the Kit Kats, the Starburst, and I'm like, why is this normal? Why in her mind does she associate the toxic sugar with normal? This really concerns me. Or her little dance friend gave her all this Dr. Pepper flavored cotton candy. That's normal.
It's says who?
Yeah.
How is that normal?
Yeah.
It's not normal.
I know, but
It's their excuse to have it.
Right, but like you were like, well, I get it, they're kids, but
To a
why?
point. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to deprive them of having some of that. Like it doesn't need to be a full on,
Yeah,
shelf of stuff. But you know what? I don't
yeah,
think it's like the end all be all at the moment to have a little bit of it and to teach them how to kind of control it. Because I'm sorry, I don't know why. I go back to, if anybody's ever seen the movie War of the Roses. If you've ever seen it, one parent was like giving them all the sugar and all the things, and they were obese children for a while.
yeah.
But they grew out of it, and now they don't want anything to do with candy. So I'm like, I have a little bit of that, like, not that I want my kids to be like that, but I want them to
Make their own
choices and to really look at it and evaluate it, going, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be faced with those decisions anyway. So
Yeah.
how do you?
Oh my gosh,
Get
I
them
want
to
to protect my daughter from all the things.
The bubble. Stay in the bubble.
Yes. I'm gonna have to watch that movie. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, it's something else.
Yeah, but learn from our own personal experiences. I think that's really good for us too, as long as we learn, right? Like we don't keep hitting our head against the wall.
Self-control.
Yeah.
You gotta learn self-control.
Yes.
My daughter does not have self-control.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's what we have for sugar. If you struggle with sugar, we would love to offer you some more help with this. You can reach us by contacting us. Our information will be in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please take a moment to rate and review it. We would love to hear your comments. And tune in next time for some more Becoming Unstoppable Fitness and Life.